Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dragon Hill Games, and you're watching This Week in MTG Finance. As always, and before we get started, I want to thank MTG Stocks for allowing us to use graphical information for the purposes of this video. There is a bunch of new and interesting brews out there because of all of these new commanders we got from Commander Legends. This is something I really like to see. People are really brewing right now, and there's a bunch of great ideas getting out there and moving the market. And of course, we have some cards that just keep cropping up week after week because A, they're in short supply, and B, they're appearing in some of the most popular new commander builds. So let's dive right into our top 10 list, and we're going to start right here with Final Fortune. Speaking of cards that is on the list week after week, Final Fortune just won't go away. This one has been in our top 10 for over a month now. Just a month ago, it was sitting around $14, $15, and today you're going to pay $50 for a 7th edition printing. And by the way, that's up 45%. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over Final Fortune. I mean, we've talked about it at length at this point. Obviously, an include in Obeka Brute Chronologist. A few things to note about this though. The 7th edition printing is the only foil version of this card, and that's valued at almost $320. But if you do need to pick one up, you can still get your hands on a classic 6th edition for around $30, which is definitely your best bet. And the OP original Mirage printing is still around $40. I don't expect Final Fortune to slow down anytime soon. Obeka is one of the most popular new commanders, and this card hasn't been printed in a long time, so supplies are really shallow on this particular card. Coming in at number 9 and also up 45% this week, we have Exorcist, a rare from the dark, currently valued at $18.25. Now this card is a long way off from its previous all-time highs that we saw of nearly $60 back in May of 2018. I don't like cards like this for investment purposes, and the reason why is because after that massive spike, there was a long and continuous protracted sort of downward trend on this card where it met a support level that was actually lower than its previous support levels before it spiked way back in 2018. So this tells me that this was a speculative collector investment play way back in 2018, and that demand and actual play value of this card just isn't there and doesn't justify those crazy high prices, and that's why we had that sort of long protracted downward trend on this card. I don't think that's going to change. I don't think the demand for this card is actually out there, but this card actually is really fun as a casual commander type card. For just 2 white mana, we're getting a 1/1 creature that we can pay 1 white and 1 and tap it and destroy a black creature. Obviously really fun and useful in your local play group if you have a lot of black commander players. Our number 8 winner this week is also another card that's been appearing sporadically on our top 10 list, and that would be Citadel of Pain, an uncommon from Prophecy. This is up another 54% this week to $7.50. A natural fit for Yurlok of Scorch Thrash, another one of the more popular new commanders from Commander Legends. For 3 mana, just a red and 2, we're getting an enchantment, and at the end of each player's turn, Citadel of Pain deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of untapped lands they control. So the idea behind Citadel of Pain is you're going to be getting it one way or the other from Yurlok. Either you tap your mana and you don't spend it and Yurlok deals the damage to you, or you don't tap it and Citadel of Pain deals the damage to you. Definitely a solid include in that deck. Coming in at number 7 and also up 54% this week, we have Johann from Legends, currently valued at $19. There's a few things to note about this card. So it's one of the Legends from Legends, and they've all been getting a lot of attention lately. Also, this is not on the reserve list, so you can pick up a Chronicles copy for under 50 cents should you happen to want one to actually play with. It's kind of a dated card. For 6 mana, we're getting a 5/4. Now, if he doesn't attack and he's untapped, essentially all of your creatures gain vigilance. I've talked about these Legends from Legends a lot in the past because they keep sort of cropping up on the list. And my opinion on these is they're fine as collector's items as long as you have a copy that is really clean, like near mint type of thing, or a graded copy. Those are all fine. There is always going to be collector demand for these original sort of base type sets, but I would really shy away from having a non-reserve list collector type cards that are not in the best condition. I wouldn't want to be holding a lightly played or moderately played or whatever version of this particular card. I really do think that the collector demand for played versions of these cards is just not going to be very strong in the future. That said, having a graded copy of something like this is a fantastic include for your own personal collection. Our number 6 winner this week is Sundial of the Infinite from Magic 2012, up 54% and valued at almost $7. Now, of course, this is on the move because it's great backup insurance for Obeka Brute Chronologist. It basically has the same effect. For 1 mana, you can tap it to end the turn. Definitely one of the huge problems for the Obeka deck is well-placed spot removal, so Sundial of the Infinite helps to give you that little bit of breathing space. I did a bit of digging, but I couldn't find any particular reason why All Hallows Eve is on the move this week. Our number 5 winner is up 58% to almost $475. Now, it's definitely a reserve list card. It is a rare from Legends, and all of the Legends cards have been being bought out over the course of the last 6 months or so. So that definitely could be contributing to its price increase this week. All Hallows Eve is a sorcery for 4 mana, 2 black and 2. We exile it with 2 scream counters on it. Now, at the beginning of our upkeep, if it's exiled with a scream counter on it, we remove one of those counters. If there's no more counters to remove, return it to your graveyard, and then each player puts all creatures from their graveyard into play. Sees very little play. In fact, it's in less than 100 decks over on EDHREC. Buyouts of cards from the dark are really starting to ramp up, and this week one of the targets was Eternal Flame. In the number 4 spot, this is up 65% this week to almost $10. It's not a great card. In fact, it sees little or no play in Commander at all. For 4 mana, we're getting a sorcery. Now, Eternal Flame deals an amount of damage to each of your opponents equal to the number of mountains you control, and then deals half of that damage to you. I suppose it could be a finisher for some sort of mono red decks, but generally there are better cards to go in the slot that Eternal Flame would take up. Regardless of that, rare cards from the dark are really starting to accelerate in price. Here we have another card that's been cropping up on the list week after week, and that would be Stitch in Time in the number 3 spot, up 86% this week to over $10 for the Guilds of Ravnica Guild Kit printing. Now, of note, you can get the original printing from Guild Pack for still around $7, so definitely your best bet there. Huge include for Crack the Thumbless. It allows us to flip a coin. If we win the flip, we take an extra turn after this one. And this card could be a ton of fun if you pair Crack the Thumbless with the brand new Sakashima. Our number 2 winner this week is kind of baffling me a little bit, and that's Ring of Maruf from Arabian Nights. Card's valued at $152, and this is up 94% this week, but I don't think it's actually up anything. And the reason I say that is because this card has been spending the last few months around the $150 mark, and it had a price dip down to about $75, $80 for just a few days in late November. Since then, it's risen back up to this $150 price tag. Now, this is not a new price for Ring of Maruf. This card has had an all-time high of around $150 back in May of 2018. I had a look over on eBay. In fact, we'll head there now. There's a fair supply of this card on eBay, and a lot of the excellent sort of near mints are going for around 100 to 120 Canadian. So that's like $90 American, which is well below the $150 price tag. You can definitely find played and damaged copies for around $50. So there is a lot of this card on the market. Now, there is quite a few copies in the $150 range that are closer to near mint. So if that's something you're looking at, I guess that's the price you're going to be paying. And our big winner this week, up 107%, is Pariah's Shield from Ravnica. $10.50 for this card now. In fairness, this card's been on the rise basically since 2013. There's a lot of things that this works really well with. Everybody knows it works well with stuff like Stuffy Doll. However, it's been getting a lot of attention lately because of Jared Carthalion, True Heir, one of the new commanders from Commander Legends. If you stick this thing on Jared, instead of you taking damage, it's going to be reflected to Jared, prevented, and then he's going to get a whole bunch of +1/+1 counters. Definitely a natural fit for that deck. Alright, before I get into cards I'm investing in this week, as always, if you're a subscriber, you know I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate your continued support. And if you're looking for an alternate way to support this channel, you can visit our online marketplace at www.dragonhillgames.com. And you can find a link for that in the description of this video. Alright, let's kick things off with our value pick for this week, and that would be Arcbound Ravager, specifically the Modern Masters version. This particular printing has never been cheaper than it is today at just $10. It was a classic staple in Modern. Now, of course, it took a huge hit when Mox Opal got banned, essentially making Affinity unplayable. However, it does still make a lot of appearances in Modern in various Hardened Scales type decks, as well as seeing some Vintage and Commander play. There's all kinds of printings of this card, which leads me to believe that they're not going to be targeting this card as a reprint in the near future. The original Darksteel printing is valued at only $12.50, which is also a great pickup. Now's the time to be grabbing Arcbound Ravager if you need it for your collection. Up next, we have another value pick in Mana Confluence, specifically the Buy a Box promo from the new Commander Legends. This is an alt art foil printing of this card, and this card hasn't had a lot of printings. Of course, it was originally printed in Journey into Nyx, and that one's still around $20, and then had a minor printing as a Zendikar Expedition at $127. I'll tell you something, I didn't get a lot of these Buy a Box promos. In fact, I was completely out of them after the first day that Commander Legends has got released. So not a lot of these got out there into the marketplace. The people that got them probably are going to hang on to them. So if you can find a copy of this for under $20, it's a fantastic pickup. And last but not least, we have our speculation play for the week. That's right, it's Brash Taunter from the recent Core Set 2021. This card's never been under $1, and today it's priced at only $1.15. It's the kind of card that's going to crop up in a lot of Commander builds in the future. Slots really well into Muxus, been getting a lot of attention lately with the Jared Carthalion deck, and our number one winner from this week was Pariah Shield, which is a perfect target for Brash Taunter. No one would dare to attack you if you equipped a Pariah Shield to this card. Great time to be picking up Brash Taunter for just $1.15. Alright, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of This Week in MTG Finance. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. It really helps me out, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.